Hello, sorcerers! My name is Chance, welcome to my spellbook, and thank you so much for tuning into the 7th episode of our Metamagic series. Today we're going to be going over one of my personal favorite Metamagics. We're going to be going over Subtle Spell, which, its mere existence is kind of a little bit annoying to a lot of other casters, but that being said, it is one of those characteristics that gives the sorcerer a leg up on a lot of the casters out there. In any case, before we dive into Subtle Spell, if you'd like to check out the full Metamagic playlist, please click on that little eye icon up above there, or wait until the end of the video and click on one of the end cards. In any case, let's now take a look at its description. When you cast a spell, you can spend one sorcery point to cast it without any somatic or verbal components. If you're not super familiar, somatic means gesturing with at least one hand, and then verbal, of course, means speaking. What this lets you do is it essentially lets you cast in secret. There is still material components to be worried about, so however you want to roleplay that, go ham, but as far as I can tell, you should be able to use those material components by just putting them in your pocket with your hand and using them that way. Unless the spell states something like super specific, then Subtle Spell might not apply, although for the most part it is fine. Now let's move on to my personal thoughts. This is the perfect metamagic to use if you want to be a stealthy caster. There aren't a ton of stealthy spells out there outside of, well, arguably the most stealthy would be just requiring somatic components, right? So you'd have like Shape Water, Control Flame, even something like Sword Burst is just somatic, so you can use all of those and cast them relatively stealthily as long as you're kind of behind an object, just seeing through it. However, if you want to be like right beside someone and cast a spell on them without them knowing in like a crowded room, Subtle Spell is really the only way to achieve that desired result. This pairs excellent with really any illusion or enchantment spell, whether it's giving your allies aid in secrecy if there's like a gladiatorial arena, or if you are trying to make someone go nuts and just ravage about the crowd. Great spell pairings include Phantasmal Force, even things like Crown of Madness or Charm Person would be really interesting. That being said though, it does consume a resource, but it's only one sorcery point, and there's no restriction over the level of the spell, so this scales incredibly well into top-tier games. There might be circumstances where there might be a caster among the enemies with good enough magical knowledge to trace it back to you. However, in the heat of the moment, it's going to be very hard for the enemies to identify you as a threat to them. That being said, let me know what you think of Subtle Spell down beneath in the comment section. Be sure to mention any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns you have regarding it. And of course, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy casting.